Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So you already know what type of video this is. Alright, so let's get right into it. I don't want this to be long and drawn out because child, it's a lot. Alright, so even thinking about this, it kind of like gets in my feelings a little bit and it kind of gets me a little emotional, but it's okay. It's been a little over 5 years since this has happened, which you guys know that's my time frame for story times anyway. Like nothing is ever recent, but it's been a while and I think I'm ready to tell my story. So anyways, all right, so let me tell you about it. So I was dating this guy. All right, so this particular guy, he was a firefighter, okay? Because y'all remember in some of my other story times, y'all know I was with the law enforcement. I always dated law enforcement or like firefighters or like things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, I just had like this thing for him. Like, they man in uniform, I don't know. But basically, yeah, we were, you know, we were pretty stagnant, you know, typical relationship, sometimes off on, but I did love him. We were in love or whatnot. So he has a child already, and of course I don't have kids. Well, you guys wouldn't know, but I don't have any kids. And so after us like talking for a while or whatever, we were like, hey, and y'all know I talk with my hands, so not too much on me now. But anyway, after talking for a while, we were like, you know, we're just feeling so in love and we're ready. Like, I think that we should try for a baby. Like we were both on the same page. It wasn't just me. I'm like, I think that we should try. And he was like, yeah, I think that we should. And he was actually all for it. He was like, I had been thinking about it. Like, I didn't really know how to bring it up because I didn't know how you would feel. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is like great. You know, he was more excited about it than me. And it was just amazing. It was great. So I was on birth control. Y'all know I've been on birth control for a while. So, you know, he knew that and I had expressed that to him, and, you know, I'm getting anxiety. This is why I'm like, my breathing is like, but, I'm so sorry. So yeah, he had already known I was on birth control and stuff, and he was like, okay, well, you're gonna have to, you know, get off the birth control and stuff. So I did, and then I ended up going to my OB, and I was like, my lady doctor, and I was like, hey, you know, this is what I'm trying to do. So she was just telling me about it, and I was like, this. So I started like tracking ovulation, and I was just getting really serious, and we were actively trying, and I was so excited about it, because I'm like, you know, like every time my period is like a little late or something like that, I'm like, oh my god, am I pregnant and stuff. So y'all, a couple months passed by or whatever. It was like literally almost 6 months had passed by. It had been a while of us like trying and stuff, and like it was one day I was like super late, and I was like, oh my god, is this the day or whatever. Like I was like through the roof. I was super happy. I was like, is this the day that it's gonna happen, you know? So I ended up getting the test, and he worked these crazy hours, so he would like go in at 3 p.m. and he wouldn't get off until 3 p.m. the next day. So with him working like these really crazy hours or whatnot, he was like, he was coming home. So I was ready, you know, I had cooked and stuff like that. I had everything set up, and I was like, we're gonna do this test when he get home. So I was like happy, because I'm like, oh my god, if we have a baby on the way, I know he's gonna be ecstatic, he's gonna be excited and stuff. So anyway, he comes in, everything is set up and stuff, and so he wasn't in like the best mood. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it was just a long shift. I understand being a firefighter is hard, whatever. So, you know, he was really kind of standoffish and not too talkative, and so I'm trying to talk to him like, oh yeah, baby, how was your day, and so he was just telling me, and then I told him, I was like, well, or whatever, I got something to tell you and stuff. And he was like, what? You know, and he was like, well, I do want to talk to you about something too. I'm like, okay, you go first. And so he was like eating this food, and you know, he was kind of looking down, and he was like, yeah, I've been doing some thinking. I was like, what's up, you know, shoot it to me straight. And he was like, I actually don't want to have the baby anymore. Like, I don't want to try for the baby anymore. And at this point, like I said, it had been almost 6 months. We have been actively trying. And I have this test like waiting to like take it so we can take it together so we can be excited. So I was kind of like doomed, and then my period had already been late, and the only thing that was going through my head was, what am I gonna do if I'm pregnant? Like, because this person is telling me that he does not want the child, you know, and he doesn't want to do this anymore. So I didn't really know what to do. Like, I was in an awkward position, and then I'm like, okay, well, if I decide to keep the child and he's saying that he doesn't want it, then I have to ultimately realize that it's going to be basically on me and my responsibility. I mean, it sounds crazy, but that's just kind of how it goes, you know. I could, you know, put him on child support or whatever the case may be, but ultimately he's saying that he doesn't want it. So, you know, everything was just going through my head at one time, you know, and I'm just listening to him speak, and it's kind of like, I don't know, tunnel vision, and then one thing is going on my ear and the other one's going in. So I'm like, okay. So I told him, I said, okay, well, you know, that's fine, that's cool. And then I just started eating, and then I got really quiet. You know, something kind of crushes your spirit. So then he was like, yo, what did you want to tell me? And I was like, oh, nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was like, nothing. I don't know. I think I made up something. I was like, I think I uploaded a new video, or I found some new I did something. I said something dumb. He was like, oh, okay, or whatever. So that was it. So then I ended up getting back on birth control and all of that whole thing. Oh, I ended up doing the test and I actually wasn't pregnant. Sorry, I left that part out. I know y'all probably like, were you pregnant? No. I did the test and I wasn't pregnant, but I was super late. I was kind of worried or whatnot. If I hadn't started within a couple of days, I was going to go to the doctor and see why was my period missed and my test was negative. So yeah, I got back into my normal routine, got back on birth control and things like that, but I was really a little upset and I seen things in a different light. So we're gonna fast forward like years later, y'all. I'm talking like years later. This had to be over like, oh my god, so many years later. We are kind of cool. I wouldn't say that we just hate each other or anything. That every now and again he'll call and check on me, and you know, we'll chop it up a little bit about life. I asked him about his son, and that'll be it. You know, it's nothing like that. So anyway, we were talking one day. We decided like do some lunch or something like that. I can't remember, but or we were on the phone and we were talking. And he was talking about us being back together and back in a relationship, you know, and we were just kind of reminiscing about old times and all that. And so I was like, you know, no, I'm not really with that. I'm not trying to do that or whatnot. I know y'all have talked to exes before. Y'all kind of reminisce and go back and talk about stuff. And so he was just like, you know, we should get back together. We should try for kids, and we should do that. And so like I got a little upset because I'm like, why would we try for kids again when we tried years and years ago and you told me you were all in, and then all of a sudden you weren't all in, you know? So I'm expressing this to him and he was like, oh no. Now this is years later now. He was like, no, so you'll never understand why I said that. And I'm like, well, why didn't you, what was the reason? So he goes on to say that he was actually on medication at the time that I did not know about, that I was not aware about. He said he was on medication and he didn't think that it would have been a good idea for us to be doing that with him being on this medication. So the first thing I'm thinking is, what kind of medication would you want? Because what is really going on? I'm confused. I was a little upset. You know, I didn't really know how to take it while we were on the phone, because I'm like, okay, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't you be open with me about a medication that you were taking while we were together? Like, I think that that's pretty selfish. So I'm kind of like, you know, harping on him about that, because I'm like, okay, so what is this medication? So he was like, well, you know, I told you I had went to the dermatologist back then. I was like, well, yeah. He was like, well, I got put on Accutane. Okay, for some people who do not know what Accutane is, I will put some information about it like right here or somewhere on the screen so you guys can see what it is. Accutane is a very big deal. If you do not feel like reading what's on the screen, please Google it. It's a very strong acne medication. I know a lot about it just because my dermatologist has tried to put me on it several times, but we are trying other things before we get to Accutane because I'm a little afraid of it. It's just, I mean, it does work. It definitely does, but there's so many side effects to it, to the point where I just don't know if I want to put my body through that. I don't want my body to jump through hoops to have clear skin. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just too freaking risky. So when he told me that, I was livid. I was upset, you know, like we got into it all over again, because I'm like, well, why wouldn't you tell me that you were on Accutane? Like, that's a big deal. I remember when I went to the doctor, and my dermatologist was talking to me about Accutane. There's waivers that you have to sign. There's classes that you have to take. And you have to be on 2 forms of birth control as a woman. You have to be on 2 forms. Now I know you guys are probably like, what the hell is 2 forms? So if you're on the pill, the patch, the ring, the thing in your arm, you have to be on that, and you have to also sign to say that you're going to also be like using some kind of contraceptive, like, you know, or something like that, you know what I'm saying? So you have to make sure you're using 2 forms of birth control while you are on that medicine. Like, it is strong. Also, my dermatologist also told me that if I do get pregnant, then basically I would have to terminate my pregnancy throughout the time frame of me being on Accutane, because it does cause birth defects. Okay, look all this up, it's all on the internet. I in fact put it in here. I'm not making anything up. That's what I was told, and that's what I researched. And that's another, and there's also other things that come with being on that medication that are very serious. So my thing is, why would he even suggest having a baby or be on board with having a baby and us trying for 6 months just to tell me out the blue, hey, this is not what I want to do and stuff like that, and then years later you tell me that you were on a medication like this? I feel like that was very, very selfish. I felt like you didn't care, like you were just selfish, self-centered, and just, I don't know, like it makes me upset even thinking about it, because what if I would have been pregnant, you know, and what if I would have had to terminate my baby, or what if my baby did come out with birth defects, or what if I did, it also could cause miscarriages. What if that did happen, you know? So I was very upset, I was very enraged, and I was just like, I can't believe you did that. And he didn't really see it as being a big deal, which is nothing really new for him or whatever, but because sometimes he could be really, really nonchalant. But I was like, I think that that's horrible, you know. I think that that's really, really horrible. And you know, everything does happen for a reason. So I'm really, really glad, for one, I'm not in a situation more, and then for two, I'm glad that I actually was not pregnant, because of the simple fact that would be an unfair way to bring a child in this world under those conditions, and me not knowing. I did not know my partner was on medication, you know, and I feel like that's something that we should have been open about. And if I would have known that, no, we would have not been trying for the past like 6 months. And I don't know if just one day he was just thinking about it, or one day he was like, hey, I need to go ahead and let her know before we keep trying that this is not, you know, what I want to do. Or maybe, I don't know, he felt like this is wrong and I'm gonna tell her, whatever. I'm not sure, but I'm glad he finally like tapped into his senses and just let me know, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, so I, you know, could get back on birth control and do whatever I needed to do. So anyways, guys, that is my whole spiel. I know I was kind of long-winded. Sorry about that. Sorry about dragging it out and dragging it all along. But let me know what you guys thought about this story time. I know it is a little crazy. I'm very sorry if this triggered you in any type of way. I understand we got a little deep into some topics and stuff like that. But let me know, did I have a right for being upset? Do you feel like he should have told me he was on the medication? How do you feel about that medication? Have you ever heard of that medication before? Did you look it up? Did you Google it? What are your whole thoughts on this, and how would you have taken this situation? Like, am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know, child, because I don't know, okay? But anywho, y'all, that's pretty much it. And yeah, I'll see you on my next video.